got
George, my man.
it. Slamming stuff, man.
What you working on?
What you got? No, dude, just trying to get this stuff ready for the podcast. Trying to find something to talk about.
I got a topic for you. I got something we might be able to talk about.
What you got? Oh, I'll keep. What's up?
Psyche.
What's up with you and psyche, dude? You're like, you've been touching on it here a lot lately, and
No, think about it, man. Like the psyche. You know what the psyche is, right? Like
kind of. I mean, like I have an understanding of kind of what it is, but like not like the right. Let me hold on. Let me look at it real quick.
yeah, look it up real quick.
Like let me give you a real definition of it, right?
Yeah. I feel like we can run with that one, bro.
Okay. Okay, psyche. The psyche refers to the totality of the human mind, encompassing both conscious and unconscious aspects. It is a concept that is central in psychology and philosophy, representing the mental and emotional components that make up a person's personality, thoughts, feelings, behaviors, and mental processes. Okay, so it's kind of like how we, I don't know, process information.
So let me ask you this, bro. Now that you read the definition for psyche, right?
Yep.
How do you think? Why do you think the way you think? Right? Like if you ever paid attention to that, how did you come up with your personality? Who shaped that for you? Did you shape that yourself? How was that influence?
I don't believe anybody shapes it themselves, really.
Yeah.
I feel like most of the way people think, mentality comes from somebody or somewhere or something.
So who shaped you? Like if you ever sit down and pay attention to yourself and notice your thought patterns, right? So like when you're coming up with like ideas
Yeah.
or you're
Yeah.
reacting to a certain situation.
Yeah.
Have you ever noticed that? Like you ever wonder why do you react to it like that?
I didn't up until I feel like recently I started becoming more aware of it.
Yeah.
But no, I never really thought about it, dude, because I feel like you get so excited in the idea that you don't even wonder where it came from.
Right.
You know, you're just like, man, I got a bright idea, and you just kind of go with it.
So what I wanted to do with this topic, why I brought it up.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
I've been noticing that we never really went back and define ourselves from a young age.
Yeah,
right.
I believe
and so the question I'm truly asking are the process. Psychologists have already coined the term for it, and it's known as the metacognition. Right. Are you familiar with that word?
I've heard it before, dude, but I'm not really. I don't know the literal definition for the technical definition for it. I know meta. I mean, meta like reminds me of metaverse. Like,
right.
I know what meta means. Meta, I think, means beyond.
Transcend.
Yeah,
right?
transcend. Yeah.
Okay. So cool. So that everybody can follow us, right?
Yeah.
What I really want to do is like I want to bring to layman term, so we can literally sit down with ourselves and try to figure ourselves out.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So let's look up the definition for metacognition.
For metacognition, the dictionary definition for metacognition is awareness and understanding of one's own thought processes.
So let me ask you, bro. What drives you? Like, what's your core foundational belief? What do you hold sacred, so strong that you would never change for anybody or anyone or anything?
Yeah, I get what you're asking. Like I said, dude, I think we're talking about me at a young age, right? How I always like making my friend happy made me happy, and I feel like that's been my belief for my whole life.
Yeah.
Maybe up until now. To a certain extent, I don't want to sound selfish. Like I don't care about other people's happiness, but I definitely get a sense of fulfillment by helping other people, and just seeing other people happy that I hold dear to me. Even if it's a stranger on a different level, just like doing something nice for them that might change their day, like that makes me feel good. Go ahead.
So, is it that you were really trying to make people happy? Or is that what made you happy? That's what you felt like you had to do. So you were really doing it for you because you're like worried about what people are going to think about you. So you were more focused on your image.
Yeah,
how you come across to someone.
Yeah. Well, that's a good question, actually. That's probably how it originated. Because like I said, I feel like I've always been really easily influenced. because the way people are for the most part, if you go against something they strongly believe in, it turns into an argument or a fall off. You know, like you might just fall off a friendship or whatever. And I believe that every friendship that I've had it's for a reason. You know, like they're supposed to be part of my life at that point for something. So I've been like, I don't want to lose them as a friend over something that we just don't agree on, because I feel like we won't be able to have that conversation of just like, why is it that you believe this way? Why is it that you believe that way? Because I feel like a lot of people don't even know why it is that they believe the things that they believe in. So it's like they're just so strong and their ego gets in front of them. They're like, no, I can't hang out with somebody that believes in that. Like that's just not, I can't do it. Instead of actually trying to understand the person, like, okay, but why is it that you think that way? Share your perspective, share your understanding of it, and then I share mine and see if you can relate to it, or why is it that, you know, like just because we have differences don't mean we have to like not, you know, be friends or whatever, you know, fall off as a, you know, friendship or family or whatever.
How many other people probably had the same
Oh, I'm
problem?
sure everybody
like,
thinks about it.
where they
Dude.
really, I don't think the average person really kind of think about it from that perspective. Like, kind of just really paid attention to their frame of mind. How do they interact with, like, you know, their environment, like on a regular basis?
Like I said, that's probably like they think about it, but they don't. That's as far as it goes, you know. Like I'm like, huh? I get back to work. Oh, all right. You know, like yeah, like you know what I'm saying. Like it'll probably it has probably crossed their mind before,
Right.
but they haven't really maybe dove into it, you know.
Well, I dropped that on there. I'm sure. Like, I had the Bible, right? And I was looking into it, and something kind of stood out to me, you know. And a lot of people like they don't even like. What is this really though? Like the Bible. Like, is it a religious book? Is it like so? What people often refer to this as, you know?
The Bible?
Yeah. Like, what do you see it as personally? Yeah. Let's keep it personal.
Yeah. Are you asking what I see it as?
Yeah. What do you see it as? Like, we're keeping this personal, man.
I see it as a reference book, maybe. You know.
Reference.
Yeah, like I don't know. It's hard to put it into words. I don't know, dude. It's a tough question right now. I'm drawing a blank. What do you see it as?
I see the Bible more of a historical book, for one, and it's the narrators of this are, you know, the authors of this book, right? They took history to create a narrative of a way how they feel like people should perceive the reality. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So what the Bible is actually doing, that's why I say it's not really about going to heaven. It's about training your psyche to see the world from a perspective that is more what they feel
More
is
free,
more aligned
Okay, yeah.
with how they see nature naturally unfolds, right? So with the belief of the great mind or the great consciousness that creates everything by design,
Yeah.
the narrative is trying to mirror that
Yeah.
based on real life stories, and that's their ability to create that narrative. Like, what do you think with that? We like go to another place, or
I don't know. Like I said, you know, I'm learning. I'm studying stuff. You know, and trying to, you know, just understand everything every day. I'm learning something new. So my understanding right now might not be the same as my understanding here in the next couple of weeks, right? So right now, what I understand that heaven, like to me, heaven means I don't know if it means like physically you're up above looking down on the earth, or, you know, but I do believe you're in the spirit form, which is like the purest form, I feel like, you know.
so you believe there's a soul?
Yeah. I guess kind of like, yeah, like a soul, spirit. Yeah, I guess, yeah. I don't know if it's the same kind of concept or the same thing, but yeah, like, you know, whenever you die, your physical body, you know, you leave your physical form, but your spirit, your soul, I feel like that's what goes to heaven, or goes, you know, that's what maybe, like I said, goes to heaven. Now I'm not exactly sure where heaven location wise is. So sometimes I've even thought that heaven's here on earth, you know, but in a different, maybe not realm, but in the spiritual world, you know. That's kind of, I don't know. Like I said, that's my understanding of it right now.
How far did you ever get into it, like the Bible?
Oh, I'm not even, because I stopped myself because I keep trying to understand it, and I just like I really like I'm at the beginning, dude. I'm really well. I'm reading in two versions. I'm reading physically when I read it. I'm like still he's just barely creating man. It's like the first page, dude.
Yeah, like, well, then again, I don't even want to be too much on Bible, because then people are going to think it's a religious thing.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know what I
You're
mean?
saying.
Like, so I don't even know. It's going to turn off a lot of people once they hear Bible.
Yeah,
They're like,
yeah,
oh,
yeah.
just another religious take on life. But so it's like finding that dynamic. Like,
Yeah, because
does that make sense?
if you like for example, me, dude, I didn't really know what the Bible was probably up until recently. Like I knew what the Bible was as far as the book, but I've always called it, oh, it's a religious book. It's a book
Right.
that churches, it's like a church book. But I just like up until recently, I realized that this is obviously like I never understood like Samuel, Joshua, Jacob, and all of like John. Like I didn't really know what that meant, and what I come to realize is that that's just basically like a journal for each individual.
Their
It's like
life
their
story.
journal.
Right.
Yeah, like if you take a book and you want to write something that an idea comes to you, or you want to write about your life, how you understand your life, you're gonna write it down. And let's say you lose that book, dude, and somebody just happens to find it, and they take it literal. They're like,
Right.
"Oh man, this guy had a great life. I'm gonna live my life like this."
Right. But you know, the funny thing is, that's some of it is not even from their perspective. It's from a third person's perspective of what they're creating their own narrative about that person's life,
Yeah.
right? And you said something about, like, you said recently you didn't even really know
Yeah,
what the
no, I
Bible
didn't.
was, right?
Yeah, no.
Over the years, I've found out that's very common. You'll be surprised how many people have a core belief about religion or Christianity,
Well, they think.
and they'll fight and die for it, and they don't know what the Bible says.
That's what I'll always say, dude.
It's
I'm
crazy.
like, people argue and fall off of friendships and family members off of something that they believe, but they don't even understand.
Yeah.
Like they believe it because it's been passed down.
And that's why I wanted to do the definition on the videos, right? Because I wanted people to really get where we're coming from,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And even though we're using the definition that is established by the dictionary,
Yeah.
that's just our agreed consensus as to what the word is trying to convey.
Yeah. I feel like all of our lives as human beings, it's all based on beliefs.
It is.
There's nothing that we can actually prove, because to prove something, you have to be there in person. Like right now, I can prove that you're here physically because I can touch you, I see you, but everything else has been read off a book or somebody has passed it down.
Right.
Like even just regular history, like, George Washington, everybody that goes into history,
Right.
it's been on the book, but the teachers at school never really seen, these guys or these things that they're teaching, and that's what we grow up believing.
I've came to understand something recently, and it's about like reality. And it has helped me to shift my perspective in a very, very completely different way.
Yeah.
The example I gave about people who don't understand the Bible and don't even know what's in there, but they believe so much in religion that they'll die for the religion, but they don't know the Bible. So you're dying. You're not dying for
You
the
didn't even
Bible
know
or
what
the Word of God. You're really dying for what religion trained you to believe.
The word
right?
of man.
And so what I'm trying to do with the channel is to really get people to question what they held so sacred. Really try to nail down from that core perspective. What is it that you really believe? Who are you really? It's like, think about it, what I just said. You say you're, like, if a person say you're a Christian, right? They say that I'm a Christian, right?
Yeah.
And you believe so strongly in Christianity and you die for Christianity, right? But Christianity is based on the Bible teaching, right? And you don't even know what's in the Bible.
Yeah, there's a lot of people
Right.
in religion that I feel like never read the whole Bible.
So are you really a Christian? Are you really dying for your belief in the Bible?
If you hadn't even took the...
Yeah, if you didn't even read it, right?
Yeah.
You're really saying you're dying for being a Christian, but you really don't know what being a Christian means,
Yeah.
or you really haven't defined it for yourself. You're just going based on the training and the indoctrination that
Yeah.
you're given,
Yep.
right? So what is it that you really die for? You know? And to go back to what I was saying earlier about me reading the Bible and I've come to understand something. And there's a lot of questions that I was able to generate from reading the Bible. You know?
Yeah, I've been doing the same
I
thing.
want to go through a few series of like from the beginning. From the
Yeah.
beginning in the Garden of Eden.
Mm-hmm.
There's a crucial part in there that is glanced over and it's not even really think about much, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's about where on the sixth day of creation where God made Adam, right? And he talks about he bringing him all the things that was made. And he said, you know, he named them that was the
Yeah.
name thereof, right?
Whatever you name,
whatever you
that's
call
where
it,
they
that was the
should
name
be.
thereof,
Yeah.
right? And as important as that was back then, it is today to everybody.
Mm.
But we don't see it that way.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Like, where did your core belief, foundational belief come from? We never established them. We thought that they were already established for us
Yeah.
based on what we're thinking about or reading in the Bible, saying that Adam already established that for us.
Yeah.
But no, he didn't. He established it for himself.
Mm-hmm.
You get what I'm saying?
It's taken out of
And
context.
so you are
Yeah.
supposed to do the same thing.
For you.
You are the
Yeah,
Adam
yeah, yeah.
of that Bible.
That makes
so
sense,
remember
yeah.
what I said? It's a narrative that they have
Yeah.
used people's life story to create a narrative to make you, to give you the ability to perceive the world from the alignment with the great consciousness,
Mm-hmm.
right? That's what the Bible is really wanting you to do.
Yeah.
It's not really wanting you to conform to anybody else's narrative. It really is trying to get you to create your narrative. Does that make
I
sense?
get what you're saying. Yeah. Yeah.
To really define your experience on earth.
Well, it goes back to the same thing where I feel like we take things too literal. You know, like we take that, if we get that book and we take it literal, dude, we can do a lot of messed up, like a lot of,
Oh,
you know,
yeah.
because that book is not a pretty book. You know, there's a lot of messed up stuff that goes on in that book. So if you really think about it, you relate it. You're like, you know, you can, if you take it literal, or you're like, well, they did this back. A lot of people say that. Well, they did this back then. You
But
know?
you know, it is actually literal, and a lot of it, I believe, is verifiable history.
Yeah.
But that's not what I'm saying. Like, what I'm really saying is that there's a great consciousness, right? I mean, if you really sit down and think about it, you didn't bring yourself into existence, as far as you know,
No.
right? Well, let's just assume.
Yeah.
We don't know.
Based on belief, yeah, we don't.
Do you know how you got here? Do you know that your mom is your mom? Have you ever done a DNA test?
Dude, you know what?
You get what I'm saying?
That brings
So-
me a question real quick. I don't want to cut you off real quick, but I've always thought about that when like just growing up. I'm like, how do I know that I didn't, like, they're really my mom? Like,
Yeah.
what if I got switched at birth?
Yeah.
Or, you know, like, I don't know.
So how
But
much
yeah.
do we really know? So okay, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
That's the narrative that I'm trying to show you. You have to learn how to align yourself, your consciousness, with that great consciousness.
Yeah, 100%.
And so they're trying to give you a way based on just observing how things unfold without humans' interaction, right? And so
yeah.
if you look at what we're calling nature, how nature unfolds or naturally flows, that's how you need to align yourself to claim that you're aligned with God or the great consciousness, however you define that thing for yourself.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying?
It makes sense because if you think about it, if we're going by what Adam did, what Eve did, we're going based on their beliefs, they're still human.
Yeah. But none of that matters.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what they do. What they're trying to say is like your consciousness.
Yeah.
Your psyche.
Yeah.
Your ability to interpret. That's why I was asking, have you ever paid attention to how you think?
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So the definition, when we establish a definition for a thing or a word or whatever, it's just so that me and you can exchange.
Yeah. To make it
our psyche,
relatable.
to make it relatable.
Yeah.
It's a common ground for us to
There you go.
interact
Common
on.
ground.
So all of the definition doesn't matter except between you and I.
Your definition, right? Like, yeah, because we're the ones having the conversation.
Yeah.
As long as me and you
So,
understand each other.
For me and you to trade, it's like money.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? For me and you to trade, we have to have a common place value.
That makes sense.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So we use $1 to represent, value within an
Yeah.
item. How many dollars does it take? It's the same thing for communication.
Yeah.
It's just so we can trade information or perspective.
That makes sense because imagine I would put it into perspective of talking to a child.
Hmm.
You know, you can't talk to them how me and you would talk.
Right.
You have to. It sounds messed up. I don't want to say dumb it down because you know,
A
but you gotta not even dumb it down. You gotta put it into a way where they can understand it
different context.
because they haven't been around. They haven't been alive as long as you
Right.
have, so they don't know as many words. So you gotta kind of, try to make a big word sound into a word that they can understand in their
Right.
vocabulary.
Yeah.
So that's and that goes so far as on the bigger scale, like when you're talking to other people too, like how many people you sit there like you talk to somebody that has like some scientist, some psychiatrist, and they keep throwing all these big words at you, and you're like, man, I don't even know what the heck you're really saying
Right.
because they have a certain a certain understanding they've been studying or whatever, but it's like they say all these things and you're not really understanding nothing of it, so you don't get nothing out of it.
Right.
So I get what you're saying. Okay, we're talking. So what is it there? Where is it that we're going with this? Like, we're talking about thought process, psyche. Psyche is the human mind, soul, and spirit.
Right.
And you said metacognition was the awareness and understanding of somebody's thought process.
Right. And paying attention to the pattern.
Yeah, the pattern.
Thoughts,
That's
right?
what I think. That's
so
what
it's more about the pattern. So
the pattern that it leaves behind.
where I'm going with this is to try to establish freedom.
Mm.
And what do I mean by freedom is the freedom that the Bible is actually trying to give you. That's where I want to go with this.
Yeah.
And a lot of people might be like, oh, if you're caught up in religion, then cool. But what I'm truly giving is freedom. I really believe that there is a message that I've seen in the Bible that really can free your mind. And it goes back to what I said from the beginning of Adam and Eve, right? From when Adam established the name for a thing. And I'm going to go through the significance of name in our culture today that we're not even aware of.
Yeah.
And how much of a role that plays in a subconscious way that people don't even understand the impact of it.
I think I know where you're going with, but I guess we'll dive into that.
We'll dive
at
into
another time. But I guess and I don't know, but I just want to emphasize real quick that when you decide to listen to our video, our podcast, try to come in with an open mind. I'm not saying just believe everything we say, but just if something out of it makes sense, just try to see how you can relate that to yourself. And like I said, I'm not saying you're wrong, I'm right, he's right, I'm wrong, but it's just like we're just having a conversation.
Pay attention to what I said. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what
exactly.
I say. What I think I have to offer is the tool to free your mind. I mean, see if you can use something in what I've used to free my mind, to free your own. Maybe the way how I was able to do mine, you can use that to do yours.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. No, like I said, that's what it's hard to try to put that in the perspective of people and it's hard for people to get past that because they see us talking and we're thinking like, oh, you guys are just doing this or reading that but that's not the point.
Right.
The point is that you're gonna understand something out of what we're talking about differently than how I understand it, how he understands it, how anybody understands it. But like I said, just open your mind. That if you can just look at life differently, it can be maybe more freeing, and you could just live hopefully a better, more free, happier life. Because I feel like that's essentially what you're trying to get at.
That's what I'm trying to, yeah.
And we're based, freedom. And that's kind of like, because you would say, this book, a lot of people, as soon as they hear Bible, their mind automatically goes to religion. Boom, right? And then that's kind of why we'll bring up psyche and all that.
Religion abducted the Bible.
Yeah.
And we'll get like, there's a lot of deep things that we might going into.
Yeah, I mean,
but
that stuff
that's ultimately what this episode I'm trying to convey, the importance of paying attention to your thoughts and the patterns. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And how much you can really impact your life just by doing that. You can really free yourself.
Yeah.
But you really have to establish definitions. And that's the importance of the definition. Outside of you, it matters to you and the other person, but your personal definitions matters only to you. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah.
You have to really establish for yourself who you are, what you believe in, and how you are going to perceive your reality and your experience.